Today is a program that is geared towards empowering students of both the commercial and the grammar sector of our secondary schools institutions. A program that brings teachers of different caliber, dimensions, and individual subject matters who have masteries of these subjects, chief examiners, invigilators, in order to empower youth on some key aspects in order to tackle public examinations. This is Education Today.
At any point in time where a term is U up in any of the premises and that term becomes D, in the conclusion, our answer becomes what? Invalid, and hence it has committed the fallacy of what? Illicit, either major or what? Minor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are highly welcome to CMTV. And today we are on the program Education Today. Education Today is a program which is always on air on CMTV, but it is sponsored by the Mentors Foundation. Today, the purpose for Education Today is to see that the very subject that appeal or look as though they are very devastating or very difficult, as some people may put it to some students, we could try to meet the myth or to see that these programs are very, very easy for you. And that's what Education Today has come to do. Today, I'll be teaching you, my name is Mr. Mukete Davidson. I'll be teaching you commerce and finance, and the topic will be insurance. All right. Now, commerce and finance, as we know, commerce basically is for ordinary levels. It's an ordinary level subject, and then when you go to opposite or the A level, it becomes commerce and finance. So commerce and finance is for advanced level students. That's students who are in lower seat and upper seat. So if you are in lower seat and upper seat, this is very important for you. But if you're in Form 5, it's equally important to you because you're going to do insurance in Form 5. But I'm going to teach it in such a way that you understand at the level of upper seat and not the level of Form 5. Because in Form 5, what they do is that they do more of summary and knowledge. But here we're going to go deep in depth. Why is it that your father had a company, or your father had a car, the car had an accident, they didn't insure the car, or they did not compensate your father, they had an insurance policy, an insurance contract. Why? Something went wrong. He didn't tell you, or the insurance did not educate your father very well. That's what's important for us to look at this topic. Insurance is very important. Now, I'm going to give you the history of insurance. The history of insurance. I'm going to give you the definition of insurance. Remember, I told you in a few minutes ago, I said I'll be teaching you in the advanced level manner. So I'll be giving you in-depth things. So it's not like I'm giving you surface. What I'll be giving you is very meticulous and strict on this. Now, the next thing is, after look at the history, the definition, we'll look at some common professions that are in the insurance company, like work or jobs that the insurance company offers. Then we'll look at the principles of insurance. And we'll end here for today. Some other time we're going to continue. So these are the four basic things we're going to look at today. Number one, the history, the definition, the common professions in insurance, and then the principles. Let's begin with the history. Now, this topic or this subject, insurance, is as old as trade and commerce itself. Very old. Why? Because in those days when we had merchants, when we had people sail by sea, many people took them upon themselves to become thieves and armed robbers. And many people who transferred goods through the sea, they made the reality to be precisely, always suffer damages either because boat or ship sank, or partly because armed robbers attacked, marine pirates attacked, and took goods and stole and killed people. So they began to do what we call self-insurance. But this was a pool, a common pool for self-insurance. What do I mean by a common pool? What happened is that if we had 80, or let's say we had 1,000 merchants who were moving in a particular route, let's say leaving Italy to go and buy in America, these 1,000 Italians who bought goods in America and carried them to Italy always discovered that maybe sometime or once in a while they were attacked and goods were stolen. So they do what we call common pool. What do I mean by common pool? Each person will declare, okay, each of us will pay, let's say, 1 million francs CFA. everybody pays $1 million fancy fee. So if they collect 1 million fancy fee, times 1,000 people, 1 million fancy fee, times 1,000 people will give you 1 billion fancy fee. So they have 1 billion fancy fee in a pool. Now, if anything happens to our member, we're on transit, and lost goods for 25 million, we will give him some compensation, not the entire sum, some compensation. If our member lost goods for 25,000 funds to pirates, for 25 million to pirates or to some thieves or armed robbers or something, or they are damaged, at least if the goods are worth 25 million, they can give the person 10 million of that amount, so that at least the person is not devastated and heartbroken and others commit suicide because they lost everything. At least they have something to hope for. That's how insurance began. Then people began to use it and commercialize it and use it as a means of making money, and then companies operate. Of course, you'll be wondering and say, what do I mean by using insurance to make money? Companies operate for one reason. The aim of any company, no matter what they tell you, what EcoBank tells you, NFC, what any bank tells you, any school tells you, any business tells you, the reason why they operate is for one reason, which is profit. No business operates without profit. Know that. Profit is the motivating factor why businesses operate. People, see, let me explain something to you that you don't understood. In business, what they do in business is that they get to, mankind does what we call satisfaction of wants. Now, human beings always have wants. So a businessman is somebody who looks at the wants of individuals of the population, the needs, what people want, what they need, and then reach out to satisfy it and demand for a charge. The bank discovers that if you keep money at home, they will steal it and you lose the money. So what do? They create a safe, a well-secured structure with profound people who are full with honesty, dictate the momentum, and then they demand that you come there and put your money in the bank, and they have to pay a charge. You see? So what they're doing is using for your need, using your needs to make their money. So all these things, insurance, all insurance companies are giving you cover or coverage, but making profit in the same way. Their goal is not to see that you are over prospering. They're not running a charity organization. Their role is to make profit. Now we look at the history of insurance briefly. Let's go to the definition. In all levels, you can define insurance in a very simplified way. But at the level of the advanced level, it's quite complex and difficult. Not difficult, it's quite complex and broad. Now, insurance could be seen as one. It's a contract. Contract meaning that two people came together to endorse something. Two, it could be seen as a policy. What does it mean as a policy? Meaning that we've established some document, all right? Or it could be an agreement. Now, all these three, like this, at least people who went through commerce of the insurance at the ordinary level must have seen a contract or a policy or an agreement. At the A level, they'll say insurance is a mechanism. Mechanism. What kind of mechanism? Or a system. Now, it's a mechanism or a system. What kind of system or mechanism? Insurance is a risk bearing or risk reducing. So insurance could either be a risk bearing or a risk reducing mechanism or system. That does what? That deals with two people. One, the insured. Two, the insurer. Now, often at times, these are the most used words in insurance. Insured, insurer. Insured, insurer. Who is the insured? The one that has a problem. Or the one who needs something. The one who has seen that my house can be burned by fire because I stay near a fueling station. My house can be destroyed by water because I stay near the sea. That person that has that kind of problem, or that has the probability of suffering a loss or of incurring a loss, is known as the insured. The insurance company insuring the loss is known as the insurer. So insurance is a contract or a policy or an agreement or a system or a mechanism that mitigates risk or reduce risk. Because the very essence of insurance is to mitigate risk, to reduce risk. You cannot eliminate risk. You cannot do that. You can just reduce it. All right? Because what is risk? Risk is an uncertainty. The likelihood of danger occurring. The likelihood. That means that it can occur, it cannot occur. It can occur, it cannot occur. Now the next thing I want to show you in insurance is one thing that most people don't know. In the ordinary levels, it's neglected, but at A levels, they don't neglect it. One, Insurance, therefore, in all of these things, in summary, in sensu primo, in all these things I've said, all these big guns I've told you, insurance in one word, insurance one, know that insurance is a probability. It's a probability. Why do I say a probability? Because if something becomes certain, then the insurance company does not insure it. Why? Because insurance deals with things that can happen or cannot happen. For example, tomorrow rain will fall. I don't know. I'm not God to know, neither am I a geographer. I don't know whether rain will fall or it will not fall. So insurance can insure it because it's a probability it can happen or it cannot happen. Today I woke up in the morning and saw sunlight. I was amazed. In Boya, sun was shining. How come? That's a probability. There are days you may say, oh, sun will shine today, and then it rains. So insurance in all is a probability. So why is it a probability? Because it can happen and it cannot happen. The next thing I want to tell you now is common professions used in insurance, common professions or common jobs that the insurance company can offer you, common jobs the insurance company can offer you, because every sector or industry or company has something to offer to the public. That's why the government endorses it, because we call it the social responsibility of a company. Some companies operate and they tar roads, others operate and give pipe-borne water, others employ people. All those are social corporate responsibilities of companies. When you give employment, you reduce the unemployment rate, and therefore you also reduce crime, because if people are unemployed, they don't have a problem with crime. If I get up in the morning, I go to work in the morning, I come back late at night, I'm already tired, I need to eat and sleep. There's no time for me to think to do evil. I'm thinking of the next day's work. But when I'm idle, oh dear Lord, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Know that. Now, I'm telling you about common professions or common jobs you may find in an insurance company. If you are studying insurance, for example, in the university, what can you become? One. I'll take it from the descending order so that you can understand me. Now, so it will help you if you want to cram or understand the master, depending on you, because other people are good in cramming, others are good in understanding, others are good in mastering it. But let me help you so you can master it. All right? Now, if you want to, the first job in an insurance company, the first person is who the person they call the underwriter. The underwriter. Underwriter. Now, I told you that insurance is about risk. And I said risk, like I told you in a few minutes later, I said risk is the likelihood of danger occurring. Likelihood that you may suffer a loss. The probability that you may suffer a loss is risk. So, and I told you, insurance only deals with risks, probabilities. If it's not probabilities, insurance does not deal with it. If it's not certainties, insurance does not deal with it. Which means that, now, there are two kinds of risk, or two kinds of certainties. One is the one which is insurable. Insurable. Number two, the one which is not insurable. So the uninsurable risk and the insurable risk. We have the insurable risk and the uninsurable risk. Now, insurance insures the one which is insurable. Now, the question is, which one of them is insurable and which one of them is not insurable? That's not your problem. It's not your problem because it depends on the insurance company or the company in question, because the policy of EcoBank is not the same as BSEC. It's not the same as NFC. It varies. But there's some common platform that all of them are tied to. Do you understand me? So, a risk may be insurable for beneficiary insurance, may not be insurable for Good Samaritan insurance, may not be insurable to Mukete insurance, all right? So, just because something is insurable in A insurance A, A insurance company doesn't mean it's insurable in B insurance company. But I'm going to give you in the next class the principles or policies they use, or the criteria, the yardstick, the measuring rod they use to make a risk to be insurable or not insurable. But not now. Now, we talk about the insurable risk and non-insurable risk. Now, the underwriter is the one who determines the property to be insured, whether that property can be insured by that company or not. For example, if I take my car, I get my car and drive the car to an insurance company, and my car is worth, let's say, 50 million francs CFA. 50 million. Don't mind me, okay? I'm a commercial person, so we like talking big money. It's important to dream big, all right? let's say the car is 50 million francs CFA, and I carry the car to an insurance company for it to be insured. The person who looks at that car and says, we can insure this car or we cannot insure it, is the underwriter. That person who makes a risk insurable or not insurable is the underwriter. So the underwriter is that agent, they are all agents, that agent or worker or employee of an insurance company that determines whether a risk or a property is insurable or not insurable. Number one, the underwriter. Now, once the underwriter says, hey, this thing is insurable, it moves to the next person who is called the assessor. The assessor. Now, after I explain this point, we'll take a quick break and I'll come back so that I can catch some breath. So I'll explain assessor, then we'll take a quick break and then come back, all right? Now, the assessor is the agent in the insurance company, they're all agents or a worker. What's his job? The underwriter says, yes, this car is insurable. The assessor comes and look at the car because sometimes some people lie. Some people are professional liars. They tell you carefully edited lies or carefully edited truth. It's a truth, but they have edited it in the way that it's no longer true. So it's a lie because what's a lie? Lie is the perverseness of the truth. When you perverse the truth, it becomes a lie. So they tell you lies. Now the assessor comes and says, yeah, what you have said is what I've heard. For example, there are women who buy a shirt in the market for 1,000 francs from a hawker. And then they tell their friends at the job site, they say, how much do you buy this dress? But sister, I bought it 50,000 and I was begging that woman. She bought it for 1,000 francs. She's selling her friends, she bought it for 50,000 francs. They don't believe it because it's a good shirt. They were not there. You see that? Now, if you say you bought a car for 50 million, you now to an insurance company, it is 75 million. The assessor has to come to assess this. To assess this as in whether what you're saying is true or false. You bought a car, 75 million. 50 million, sorry. You now said you bought it 75 million. The assessor said, take me to the car, let me see it. Is this car actually worth 75 million? Or are you making up story? Maybe you even bought it 75 million. They'll tell you that, no, sir. They cheated you because the value of this car as of now is 50 million. All right, so the assessor assesses the state of the property or the asset that you want to insure it. As in, how was it before you insure it? Because the insurance will take you back to the position that you were before the loss occurs. So, we are spoken about the underwriter, the one who insures the risks, who accepts the risks to be insurable or not. We are spoken about the assessor, the one who assesses the risks and the extent to which the risks, the property can be damaged. All right. Now we'll go to the next agent. We'll go to the tech agent after this break. We're going to take a short break. And after the short break, and then we'll continue. All right. Just stay put.
Education Today is a program that is geared towards empowering students of both the commercial and the grammar sector of our secondary schools institutions, a program that brings teachers of different caliber, dimensions and individual subject matters who have masteries of these subjects, chief examiners, invigilators, in order to empower youth on some key aspects in order to tackle public examinations. This is Education Today.
At any point in time where a term is U up in any of the premises and that term becomes D, in the conclusion, our answer becomes what? Invalid, and hence it has committed the fallacy of what? Illicit, either major or what? Minor.
The case of Pom that migrated from Babesi because their leader had been tricked to kill all the male birth of Pom. When he realized that, he committed suicide. And the Com people who saw it as an ill omen were forced to migrate and finally settled to lie Com.
This is Education Today.
Hello, televiewers. You are welcome to yet another edition of Education.
All right, so like I said, we were looking at commerce and finance, an A-level subject, and the topic for discussion today on Education Today is insurance. And in insurance, look at the history of insurance, and I told you it began, insurance is as old as trade and commerce itself. Then we look at the definition of insurance. We say insurance is a contract, a policy, or it's an agreement, a mechanism, a risk-bearing mechanism or reducing mechanism, or a system that reduces risks. And then we looked at common profession in insurance, and don't forget, I also told you, in all these things, insurance is a probability and not a certainty. So each time you are talking about insurance, you always try to use certain words. And the words are, I'll give you in a few minutes to come, but you have to learn to use words like if and not when. Not when. Use if, not when, because it's a probability. When is a certainty. If is a probability. So insurance is a probability. Therefore, use the word if. I'll show you how to use it in a few minutes to come. We look at common professions or jobs the insurance company can offer to the society. We look at the underwriter, the person who accepts the risks as insurable or not insurable. The assessor, the one who looks at the extent of the risk or the property and tells you, okay, this property is like this, this is the value, or who values the property, who assesses the property, who looks at the trend of the property. All right. Now the next person I want to talk about, after the underwriter accepts the risks, he sends a report to the assessor to assess the value of the property. From there, it goes to a new agent, and the agent is called the actuary. Actuary. Who is an actuary? An actuary is a person who gives or is an advanced mathematician in the insurance company. What's his job? His job is to determine the premium, principally. The premium to be paid by the insured or the insured. So, if the insurer has to be paying 1 million francs every month, that person, that determines how much the person will be paying every month or every quarter or every 6 months yearly or yearly is the actuary. Some people pay 200,000 francs CFA for their vehicle. 200,000 francs for the vehicle. The person who determines that price is the actuary, not the manager, not the underwriter. The underwriter's job ends as you say, hey, sir, your car is insurable, his own ends there, or not insurable, his own ends there. From there, assessor says, okay, the value of this car is 50 million, even though you're saying it's 70 million. From there, his own ends there. The person who determines the premium to be paid, that means what's premium? The sacrifice, the money you pay to keep the insurance contract burning or going or intact is premium. For example, you stay in a house. The money you pay the landlord for you to stay in that house is called rent. That rent in insurance can be likely to premium in insurance. Because if you don't pay rent, they'll evict you from the house. If you don't pay premium, the contract is null and void, it's cancelled, it's outdated, it's absolute, it's no longer counts anymore, has no legal backing. So, the actuary is the one who determines the premium to be paid by the insured. After the actuary, now, this is a bit further, we'll have what we call the loss adjuster. The loss adjuster. Loss adjuster. Who is the loss adjuster? Most times, properties or assets that are insured sometimes may have an accident or may suffer losses or damage. Now, if, for example, I insured my car is worth 50 million. The underwriter accepts the car. The assessor says, no, it's 50 million. Yes, that's the value of the asset. The actuary tells me to pay an amount of money every year as premium. I pay. Now the car has an accident. Just because it has an accident doesn't mean the insurance will come and say, okay, oh, I've heard, being 50 million, let's give Mr. Mukete. No, they won't do that. They will send an agent in the field who will come and find out what happened. Was it deliberate? What is the extent of the loss? Because sometimes a car can have an accident and just the windscreen is broken. Just the tires are bad. Or just one side of the door is damaged. That doesn't mean they're going to give you 50 million because the screen is damaged, or the door is damaged, or the backboard is damaged. No. They say, okay, how much does it cost to fix this screen? 500,000. Okay. They'll take away the old screen and put a new one for you. Who says that? The assessor come and say, hey, sir, Mr. Manager, I went to see Mr. Mukete's car had an accident. The car is okay, just that the bonnet is twisted, and then the windscreen is shattered, and then some few parts are damaged. So the damage of the loss is about 2 million. So we need 2 million to get that car back to the way it was before. And then they'll get 2 million, repair the car, and give me. But the value of my car is 50 million. But the assessor says the damage of the car is not 50 million, it's 2 million. So if you give this guy 2 million, he's going to be able to repair the car to come back to the state in which it was before the loss occurred. Remember, in all these things, the assessor is the one to give the final say that, hey, sir, that car cannot be insured. That car is, we cannot give compensation because Mr. Mukete's leader has done something wrong. So we cannot compensate it. In a few minutes to come, I'm going to tell you about that. In the meanwhile, while the class is going on, if you have any question, there are some numbers on the screen, on your screen. You could call or send a text. Send a text message. Just send a text message. It will be better. Send a text message to those numbers on the screen, and then I'll get them. I'll answer them for you. All right. And if you you're not clear, send again and say you're not clear. I will still give explanation until you understand. So the numbers shown on your screen. Send an SMS to those numbers. All right. Okay. So I was saying that the loss adjuster looks at the extent of the loss and reports back to the company and says, "Hey, sir, this is the situation on the ground. I went there." So he's on the ground. I went there. This is what I found. I found out that Mr. Mukete took the car and hit the electric pole by himself. It was deliberate. It was not mistakenly. Or I found out he was drunk when driving. Negligence. He's the one to say all those things because the insurance company was not there. He's the investigator of the insurance company. Just like police people have investigators, insurance also have investigators who are loss adjusters, who adjust whether a loss suffered is justified or not justified. So we'll look at the underwriter, the assessor, the actuary, the loss adjuster. The next person we'll look at is the insurance broker. Insurance broker. Now, most at times, this word broker frightens many people. See, dear students, let me tell you something. Sometimes I understand some teachers also just demystify things and make them look so big and scary. The word broker simply means middleman. It means the mid person between two people. For example, let me use a common example. If you are in a market, you have a tomato farm, and you farm tomatoes, and there's somebody who sells tomato in the market. Now, if I come to you who farm tomatoes, buy the tomato, and go and sell to the one in the farm, the one who sells in the market, I am simply a tomato broker, a middleman between the one in the farm and the one in the market. So a broker, an insurance broker, is a middleman between who? The insurer and the insured. That's all. Because there are two parties in the insurance company, two parties in the insurance contract, sorry. In the insurance contract, there are two parties involved, just two people. The insured and the insurer. Insurer. The insurer can be the actuary, the underwriter, assessor, actuary, all of them make the insurer. The insured is the one going to take the policy. Now that person in between them, who links both of them up, is the middleman. So we call him insurance broker. So if they say you are a tomato broker, it means you are a middleman that sells tomato between two people. You buy from this person and sell to that person. Now, the next person is the insurance agent. Insurance agent. Now, who is an agent? Now, the thing is, let me explain to you, let me give you a concept. There's always a misconception between a broker and an agent. Let me tell you. A broker is independent, while the agent is dependable to an extent. For example, if you have seen an MTN agent, their buildings are painted in an MTN color because they are the agent to the insurance, to the MTN company. So their building must be painted in yellow. If you are an orange agent, your building must be painted in orange. You don't have a choice. You don't choose for yourself. They tell you what to do, and you do it. You see that? But in the insurance broker, he's the master of his show. If you say he buys credit, okay, an example of a broker is the woman, the call box woman. She said next year. She says next year credit, MTN, orange, Camtel, anyone she wants. She even has Maggi, salt, tomato in front of the call box. She has chewing-gum, granite sweet, coconut sweets, all in front of her. She's a broker. All right, her job is to buy from you. Once I buy from you, it's over. It's not your business again. How I want to say is not my business. But with the agent, these are dependable people. They depend on the insurance company. So insurance agents depend on insurance company. Why? Because the insurance determine what they do, what they say, how they should act, the price at which they sell their policy. For example, if I am an MTN partner, and MTN says, hey, you have to be selling credit for us, they will tell you the amount at which you should sell credit. I cannot say I'll buy credit for 10,000 francs and sell for 15,000 francs. No way. They'll tell you buy for 12 and sell. You buy for 10 and sell for 12. They tell you you paint your building in yellow. You must do it. Every worker must do this. You must do it because you are depending on them. And all agents earn what we call a commission. Commission. But brokers do not earn commission. They earn what we call brokerage. What is brokerage? They charge the difference between the selling price and the cost price. For example, I'm a broker. I go to Bamenda, buy one basket of tomatoes for 10,000. Come to Boya, sell one for 15,000. I bought for 10,000. I'm selling for 15,000. The difference between 15,000 and 10,000 is 5,000. This 5,000 pounds is called brokerage. But with the commission, they tell you, I will give you 10% of your sales. It's a commission. So if you sold 20 billion, 10% of 20 billion, which is 2 billion, will be given to the agent. So brokers, like I said, are independable, while agents are dependable. Now there are two kinds of agents. We have the general agent, and you can call it that the individual agents. Who are general agents? Agents that deal with only one insurance company. For example, if they sell insurance company, they only buy insurance company only from beneficiary and sell to the public. They cannot buy from any other company, only beneficiary. Only beneficiary. For example, you cannot be an MTN partner and you sell credit in MTN at the same time for Orange. One of your bill is divided into two. One part is painted in orange, one part is painted in yellow. It's not done that way. Why you're an agent or you're a general agent, you must deal only one company, that is MTN. So a general agent is that agent in an insurance company that deals only one insurance company, only one, either beneficiary or good life or good Samaritan, only one. But individual agent, he can deal with as many companies as he wants. Most often their buildings are not painted with any color because they just write there, they just write the name of the company, this company, because they sell varieties of policies from different insurance companies. Now, have you understood underwriter, assessor, actually, loss adjuster, insurance broker or insurance agent, and a general and individual agent? The next thing we look at is the principles of insurance. Now, like I told you, at the level of the A levels, at the level of the ordinary level, is treated in a very shallow way. Very shallow. Why? Because in ordinary levels, they just want you to have the knowledge about it. But at the advanced level, you're not just to get the knowledge, you're to get the in-depth knowledge. That's, you should be a professional. You should speak with some gusto and momentum, with some authority. You should have some academic portfolio, pedigree, when it concerns insurance. Now, what do I mean by that? So, let's look at principles. Now, I'll explain to you insurance principles in a way that will help you to facilitate it. Now, most times, my coach used to say, the best way for you to learn is to be a fool, because only fools learn. If you think you know too much, sometimes you may not catch it. Now, I'm going to say some things here that you have never heard before, and say some things you have known all your life and say they are wrong, and tell some things you have known all your life to be wrong as though they are right, and say today they are right. So don't just be open and get my explanation so you can follow me. Be open-minded. Don't be stereotyped. Stick to your. No, my teacher said that. I know your teacher said that, but just follow me, all right, and get an explanation. The first principle, or first of all, what are principles? Principles are simply guidelines, rules and regulations governing a body, an association, organization, individual, somebody, anybody. Everybody has principles. Some people don't drink alcohol, that's a principle. Others don't go to their house after 8 o'clock, it's a principle. Others don't sleep after their house, it's a principle. In your home, your father can say that don't come to my house after 6 p.m. That's his principle. Others may say, okay, you can even go and come out the next year. That's their principle. But everybody has a principle. So does insurance company have their rules and regulations, which are principles. Now, the first principle is the most common one. Is a principle. Sorry, the board is, let me wipe it clearly so I can write and neat. Is a principle of utmost good faith. Utmost good faith. What they call umberimia fidel. Umberimia fidel. Utmost good faith and umberimia fidel are the same thing. Umberimia is simply a Hebrew word which is translated utmost good faith, umberimia fidel. In Hebrew is umberimia fidel. In English is utmost good faith. All right. Now, what is utmost good faith? This principle simply means that The insured and insurer must disclose the truth and nothing but the truth. Because if they fail to disclose the truth, the insurance contract will be null and void. Let me say it again. The insurance contract will be null and void. Null and void, or useless. It will not hold any backing, any legal backing. That means if you take it to court or to the police station or to any judiciary system, it's useless. What am I saying? In fact, in short, in a nutshell, the insurance, the principle of ordinary good faith says that don't lie. Don't tell a carefully edited truth. Where were you? I was in Malingo. No, but you were at Presbyterian Church, Moliko. It is near Malingo, but you're not at Malingo. How many did you have? I had 18, but you had 18.5. 18.5 and 18 are two different things. How many did you have? I had 19, but you had the 18.5. Even though you're saying you had 19, but you had 18.5. The difference between 18.5 and 19 is 0.5, but you have lied. You have lied. So don't say anything which is a lie. Why? If you say what is a lie, the contract will become null and void. Example, they ask you, simple question. Number one, who are those who are using your car? You want to share your car, they ask you, who are those who are driving your car with you? You say, I drive it alone. You alone. You alone, you say yes. Just you alone, say yes. So no other person drives this car, you say yes. Okay. They agree it and accept it that only Mr. Mentor drives this car. Only Mr. Mukete drives this car. Or Mr. Channel drives this car. Only Mr. Musibe is driving his car. And Musibe is driving his car and parks it one day. And maybe the car has an issue and he calls the technician, please take this car and go and test it for me. The technician takes the car, or the car repairer takes the car, and as he's driving and enjoying himself, the car has an accident. When the insurance company comes there, they will ask, who was in this car? The technician. Or you're finding out, how would they know? They will know because they'll ask questions about who was in this car. Now, they will not compensate Mr. Musibe because he said it is only him alone. If you have said, I drive this car, but once in a while, when the car has a fault, I call my technician or my mechanic, he comes and carries it to the garage, we press it and test it. That's not different. You say, no, I did not know. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So they don't want to know whether you knew about it or not. They tell you, don't lie. So tell them, don't say, I drive the car alone. One day, your wife was just doing pre-testing. Pre-testing, let me just see how my husband's car look like. And before long, the car has been damaged or has an accident. They will not compensate you. Because they'll say, if it was you driving this car, the car would not have had an accident. It's not because it's your wife. Now the car has an accident. Ladies and gentlemen, the principle of almost good faith means that the insurer and the insurer should disclose the truth and nothing but the truth. In a nutshell, don't lie. If you take an insurance contract and you want compensation, don't lie. I'll be talking for a while and I'd like to take a short break. When I come back, we'll continue, all right? So just a short break.
Education Today is a program that is geared towards empowering students of both the commercial and the grammar sector of our secondary schools institutions, a program that brings teachers of different caliber, dimensions, and individual subject matters who have masteries of these subjects, chief examiners, invigilators, in order to empower youth on some key aspects in order to tackle public examinations. This is Education Today.
At any point in time where a term is U up in any of the premises and that term becomes D, in the conclusion, our answer becomes what? Invalid, and hence it has committed the fallacy of what? Illicit, either major or what? Minor.
The case of Pom that migrated from Badesi because their leader had been tricked to kill all the male birth of Com. When he realized that, he committed suicide. And the Com people who saw it as an ill omen were forced to migrate and finally settled to lie Com.
This is Education.
And
Education Today is a program that is geared towards empowering students of both the commercial and the grammar sector of our secondary schools institutions, a program that brings teachers of different.
all right, I have some questions and they just notified me. I would like to answer them. Edmond asked me if I could talk on accounting. Of course I will. That's my specialty even, accountancy. Commerce and finance. Finance is just a part of accounting. So in the next episode, I'll be talking on accounting and not commerce and finance. So just know the program or the schedule of this program so you get to know when I'll be talking about accounting. And as the days are going by, I'll be telling you, like today, at the end of this program, I'm going to tell you what you're going to have tomorrow so that you help those of you who, maybe if tomorrow is philosophy, you know that, okay, tomorrow is philosophy. You can tell your friends who are offering philosophy, who are doing philosophy to take special notes about it, all right? So in the next program, I'll be talking about accounting. And then I have another question. Somebody asked me, does it mean that a broker is the same as a démarché? Yes! In the white man language, English is borrowed from, in Britain and America, they call it broker. We call it here démarché. That's a local parlance, all right? Okay, like we call it, some of you say problem. Nigerians call it wahala, all right? Some in Kabul we call it shock. Man of brother, I think it was shock. Shock is problem. You see, shock is wahala. But in our local parlance we call it shock. But the white man understands it as problem. So the word is broker, but démarché and broker are the same persons. You just call it démarché, and the white man calls it a broker. It's okay, all right? So the same thing. All right, let's get back. So we'll look at almost good faith. The insured should say the truth and nothing. The insurer and the insured should say the truth and nothing but the truth. In other words, they should not lie. The next principle I would like to introduce you to, which is very, very important, is the principle of compensation. Principle of compensation. Now, what does it mean by the principle of compensation or to compensate somebody? Now, the principle of compensation is one of the very reasons why insurance started in the first place, to compensate people and to make up for the loss that people have suffered. Simply means that, now, I want to explain something to you. At ordinary level, you say the principle of compensation states that if, or you may say, when the insured suffers a loss, the insurer will bring he or she back to his original position or original pre-accidental position. In Form 5, in ordinary level is accepted. When you say, when the insured suffers a loss, the insurer will bring the insured back to his pre-accident position. Accepted in ordinary levels. Accepted in Form 5, but not in A levels or advanced level. Why so? I'll tell you. You see, at the level of the advanced level, it's called advanced level. So things will advance. Now, if you use the word when, they'll penalize you. Why? Because you're saying that it must happen. But insurance is not a certainty, it's a probability. All right? So, when we say insurance is a probability, it means it can happen and it cannot happen. So, the right thing to say is, the principle of compensation says that in the event or in the event when the insured will suffer a loss, the insurance company will not bring him back to his pre-accident position. If you use the word pre-accident position, it's also wrong. In Form 5 is marked. A levels is not accepted. All right? If they mark it on our side, but the right thing is, if or in the event where the insurer suffers a loss, the insurer will bring the insurer back to his original financial position before the loss occurred. Why do I use the word original financial position before the loss occurs? Because the insurance only compensates the net book value, or the net accounting value. If I bought a car for 10 million and I've been driving the car for, let's say, for 5 years, you don't expect when the car has an accident, insurance come and give me the same 10 million I bought the car 5 years ago, because the car has depreciated. So they'll give me but the net book value of the car. What was the value of the car that I was driving at that time? The value was 2 million, so they'll give me 2 million. Now, in class usually there's an argument because I said something. Don't use the word pre-accident position. Don't use the word pre-accident position. What does it mean by pre-accident position? Why should you not use it? I'll tell you why. The issue is, let me give you an example. If we say, if a loss occurs, the insurer will bring the insured back to his pre-accident position. It's wrong. Why do I say so? Let me give you an example. Mr. Musibe and the wife are having some good time in the house. They are watching TV and laughing, And their stubborn son or their son took the car without them knowing, drove out quietly, and went and was enjoying himself with the car, his ride. As he was enjoying himself, the father and the mother are in the house. Mr. Musibe and his wife are in the house enjoying themselves, also watching the TV, not knowing the son has taken the car out. If the car now has an accident on the way, what you're saying is that the insurance will carry Mr. Musibe and his wife back to the position that they were because they were watching TV or a movie before the car had an accident. They'll carry them back to that position, which is not so. The right thing is to say that the insurance will take them back to the original financial position that they were before the loss occurred. And what's the position? The position of the net book value. So the word financial is important. Their original financial position before the loss occurs, which is now the word net book value. Now, on the principle of compensation or the principle of indemnity, like some people may call it, it's called the principle of compensation or the principle of indemnity. If you say the principle of indemnity is accepted, principle of compensation is accepted because indemnity is a compensation. And compensation means if you're compensation means you'll be indemnified. Now, on the principle of indemnity, we have two doctrines. The doctrine of subrogation and the doctrine of contribution. Doctrine of subrogation and the doctrine of contribution. Now, I told you, remember, another name for compensation is indemnity. So this is the doctrine of compensation or the doctrine of indemnity. Is the same thing. Now, this is the principle of compensation or the principle of indemnity. Is the same thing. Now, under the principle of compensation or indemnity, there are two sub-doctrines. The doctrine of subrogation and the doctrine of contribution. What is contribution and what is subrogation? Let me begin with subrogation. Subrogation states that in the event or if a loss occurs and the insured is compensated, the insured has no right, no claim, no legal backing over the scrap value of the asset. For example, you drove your car, the car had an accident in Malingo. Insurance came there and saw there was an accident, everything went wrong. You have practiced the principle of almost good faith, every principle, you've practiced everything clean. And they said this man should be compensated. And they say, okay, the compensation is 5 million. Once they give you the 5 million, you don't have the right to go and remove the engine of the car and sell it, or the tire and sell it, or maybe the bag whiskey, say, okay, remove the bag and sell it. No, you cannot do that. Or take out the carburetor and sell it, or maybe the batteries and sell it. No. Once they compensate you for the car now belongs to them. They have given you your compensation. They have given you the value of the car. Go, leave this one for us. Why are they refusing? Because if the value of the car is 5 million and the insurer has given you 5 million and you have gone with the 5 million, you come and take the engine and sell 600,000. You take battery sell 100,000. Mumu whiskey sell 400,000. Before at the end of the day, you sell things for 1.5 million, which means now insurer has given you 5 million plus 1.5 million, which is now how much? 6,500,000. You are making a profit from a loss. And insurance, you cannot make a gain from a loss. You cannot make a gain from a loss. So, the doctrine of subrogation says that once you have been compensated, you don't have a right again to the scrap value of the property. Leave it. It now belongs to what? The insurance company. The next is the doctrine of contribution. What is the doctrine of contribution? There are some people who are very wise, smart, in the wrong sense. They are wise. What do? They go to company A, insure their car. Company B, insure their car. Then, if the car now has an accident, let's say the car was 5 million, A will give them 5 million. B gives them 5 million as compensation. They now join 5 plus 5, it now makes 10 million. So they now have a compensation of 10 million. They are making a gain from a loss. And with insurance, one cannot make a gain from a loss. So, in this event or in this situation, what they'll do is that the insurance company will come together. Company A will bring 2.5 million. Company B will bring 2.5 million. And the total will be now 5 million. And they'll join together and give the owner of the car. So that the owner of the car should not make a gain from a loss. They'll join together, compensate you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take a short break. And after the short break, we will continue with the other two sub-doctrines. So just stay with me. I'll be right back.
Education Today is a program that is geared towards empowering students of both the commercial and the grammar sector of our secondary schools institutions, a program that brings teachers of different caliber, dimensions, and individual subject matters who have masteries of these subjects, chief examiners, invigilators, in order to empower youth on some key aspects in order to tackle public examinations. This is Education Today.
At any point in time where a term is U up in any of the premises and that term becomes D, in the conclusion, our answer becomes what? Invalid, and hence it has committed the fallacy of what? Illicit, either major or what? Minor.
The case of Pom that migrated from Badesi because their leader had been tricked to kill all the male birth of Pom. When he realized that, he committed suicide. And the Com people who saw it as an ill omen were forced to migrate and finally settled to lie.
This is Education Today.
Hello, televiewers, you are welcome to here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have looked at the principle of almost good faith, the principle of indemnity. Now, I want to look at a principle. Now, the principle that I kept these two principles because even some teachers don't catch it right. And this is where we want to have a little discrepancies. Now, the principle is, we have the principle of proximate cost. Proximate cost. What is the meaning of proximate cost? Proximate cost simply means nearest cost or direct cost or actual cost. So the principle of proximate cost is the same as actual cost or direct cost. If you say principle of proximate cost, it means what actually caused the loss. So the principle states that if the property is not damaged by the direct cost insured against, then the insurance company will not compensate you. For example, you have a house, you insure the house against fire, the water damaged the house, they will not compensate you because the house has been damaged, yes, by what? Water, but you insured against fire. You took a fire insurance policy for your house, fire insurance policy, but was insured by water. So they cannot compensate you because you've taken a policy for fire, but it was insured by water. You see that? If you insure your car against accident, and the car is damaged, was stolen by thieves, the car has been taken away from you, but it was not taken away by accident. It was taken away by thief, which is proximate cost. So the thing that caused the loss, the car being taken away by thieves, it was not accident. If the car had an accident, insurance will compensate you. You see that? So sometimes, or you may say, okay, I want to take an insurance company and policy on my laptop. That if my laptop is damaged by falling down, they should compensate me. If the laptop is stolen, they will not compensate you because even though the laptop has been taken away, but it did not fall on the floor. So if you are using the principle of almost approximate cost, you should be very careful. Now, most times in my class, so they always ask me, sir, if I have a house, or insured against water, against fire, against stealing, against theft, or insured against all those things, which is true. There's a policy for that. It's called comprehensive loss policy. It covers fire if it's a car, if it's a house. It will cover, if it's a car, for example, it will cover the risk of being damaged by accident, or by fire, or by water, or being damaged, or anything. It will cover it all. It's called a comprehensive loss policy. But all these policies are expensive because in insurance, they hire the risk, or in business in totality, they hire the risk, they hire the returns. So they hire the risk, they hire the word premium. If you take a comprehensive loss policy, it will be more expensive than if you just took a fire insurance policy. If you took a water policy, it will be more expensive. It will be less expensive than taking a comprehensive, because a comprehensive will entail fire, water, and every other thing. So proximate cost means what actually caused the loss. Was it caused by fire or water, or was it caused by accident? What caused it? All right, that's the next. So the last principle, which I left it, is the principle of insurable interest. Insurable interest. Insurable interest. Now, what does it mean by insurable interest? Now, insurable interest simply means that for something to have an insurable interest, it means that, let me first give you a fallacy that many people make. In most textbooks, you see it. Insurable interest means that one cannot insure a property that does not belong to him. It's a lie. You can insure a property that does not belong to you. You can do it. Most textbooks I have read is inside. Most. Now, if you read the exemplary by Mukete Davidson, or you read the Firm Foundation by former BTB, you see some great difference there because those two authors have explained the concept well. Insurable interest, like some authors will say, that you cannot insure a property that does not belong to you, is a fat lie. Let me give an example. If you have your house help in the house, you took from maybe for a corner, an employer has when you work cooking in your house or washing clothes and doing house help chores, and you send that house help to the market to go and buy you things at 8 o'clock in the morning. 12 o'clock, the house has not come. 3 o'clock has not come. 6 o'clock, market has closed, house has not come. Everybody in the house will be worried. Why? Because the house help is under the care of your father, but it's not your father's child. It's not your mother's child. Let me give you an example. If you give your dress to the dry cleaner, does the dry cleaner have the right to insure it? Yes, because the dry cleaner stands in a position of suffering a loss if the risks occur. So insurable interest means that the insurer can only insure something if he or she stands in a position of incurring some financial loss or some financial damage if that risk occurs. So if you know that you stand in a position to insure some financial loss or damage if a risk occurs, you have the right to insure that property. If you know that I am a dry cleaner and somebody is just with me, or I'm a tailor, I'm sewing somebody's material, and if the person suffers a loss, or if this material is damaged, the woman is responsible, you have the right to insure it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your cooperation. I've come to the end of my class. I have some few questions I'll take from now so that... Okay, I have a question from Edbong Lovett Ewang. He's saying, I'm a final year student in the University of Boya, and I'm writing a project on Zenith Insurance. I'm an accounting student, and I have some doubt. Please, what are the various books of account kept by insurance companies? All right, various books of account kept by insurance companies. 2, also weaknesses, strength of insurance companies. I'm sure that's what he meant to say. What factors affect premium? I love this program today. Though it's my first day, yeah. All right, love it. It's good, yeah. There are many factors that affect premium. Many factors. Again, please, these questions are very personal and they are not related to this topic. But related to this class today. We are still to see them factors that affect that make a risk insurable or not. Factors that affect premium or other things. And the books kept by insurance company, we're going to see them in classes ahead. But since you want to know about it now, there are numbers on the screen. After this program, call the person. The person will link you up to me, and I'll be able to give you the questions more directly. All right? All right. So another question here. Could you? Okay. Hello, CMTV. I'm Kemba Derry from Munya. I wish to know the difference between the following: insurable interest and insurable. Insurable interest and uninsurable interest. Concurrent and non-concurrent event. Void and voidable contract. Okay. Void and voidable contract. They are also good. Now let me just explain in because I don't have time. Now insurable interest and uninsurable interest. Insurable interest means that you stand in a position of suffering some financial loss if that risk occurs. That means you know that if this thing happens, you suffer some damages or some loss. That's insurable interest. Non-insurable interest means that you don't stand in any position. For example, your neighbor's child dies. How will it affect you? Will you pay? How much will you pay? Nothing. It doesn't have anything to do with you. Because you don't stand to suffer any loss. But if your brother dies, you stand to suffer some loss. You see that? So insurable interest is that. Insurable interest means that you stand in a position to suffer some financial loss. That's the simple truth. And non-insurable interest means that you stand in no position to suffer any loss if that risk occurs. Number 2, concurrent and non-concurrent events. when you say concurrent, it means that this event repeats itself over and over. For example, every 11th of February is Youth Day. It's a concurrent event. Every year you keep having it. But non-concurrent is those events that happen once in a lifetime. There are people who have an accident once in their life, they've never had an accident again since ever. Alright? So each one will find out, does this event reoccur? Does it happen over and over again? Or have you saw the event just once in your life by some mistake or some error? Alright? Good. There are children in their life that have never failed an exam before. So that event, if they failed, it will be non-concurrent. But the others, every year their name is failure. Every year they write they fail. They write they fail. So it's concurrent. Void and voidable contract. All right. Void. I don't have time. I'm short of time. I'll be leaving you now. But like I said, if you have any more questions like this, I'll answer it in maybe next class. But if you want to get the answer directly, you see the number on the screen. Copy it. Text the person. The person will link you up to me, and I'll answer the question better and with some specification. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Mukete Davidson. I'm happy talking to you. This is CMTV, and the program is Education Today. I'm very happy to be with you. We had commerce and finance. People was insurance, and God bless you until we meet again. For me, the rest of my team is bye-bye for now.
Education Today is a program that is geared towards empowering